You have a part of yourself you have never once looked at directly, and right now, it's running your relationships, your temper, and who you think you're allowed to be. In the spirituality world, they call this your shadow. And no, it's not some evil twin lurking in a horror movie. It's a real psychological concept, first named by the psychiatrist Carl Jung. And once you understand it, you'll start seeing it everywhere in your own life. Think of the last time someone's arrogance made your blood boil, or someone's neediness made you want to scream, or you snapped at your partner over something so small it embarrassed you an hour later. Here's the pattern. The reaction is always bigger than the moment calls for. That's not a coincidence. That's the signal. Most of us handle it one of two ways. We shove the feeling down and pretend it isn't there. Or we aim it outward, at whoever triggered it. Neither one actually works. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why and what to do instead. We're going to define the shadow properly, using Jung's own words. Then we'll show you something wild. 3 other major authors describe this exact same mechanism, without ever using his term. And we'll end with an actual practice, one you can use the next time someone gets under your skin, so the reaction becomes information instead of a mess you have to clean up later. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the disowned, repressed side of your personality. Traits, urges, and feelings you decided, somewhere along the way, were unacceptable. And Jung was specific that this isn't some vague metaphor. It's rooted in your actual instinctual nature, the animal part of you that your conscious plans never fully consulted. And here's the part almost everyone gets wrong. Jung didn't say the shadow is evil. He said it's power. In his words, these are potentialities of the greatest dynamism. Whether they build or destroy depends entirely on how consciously you handle them. And this part matters just as much. Everyone has one. Jung put it bluntly, none of us stands outside humanity's collective shadow. Having one isn't a defect. It's what makes you human. But here's the specific risk Jung saw in modern life. We're so proud of being rational that we quietly disown anything that doesn't fit the image. Western man is in danger of losing his shadow altogether, he warned, identifying only with the polished, fictive version of himself he presents to the world. The fix isn't eliminating the shadow, it's recognizing it. That recognition, he said, is what gives you the modesty to acknowledge you're imperfect and stay in relationship with people anyway. So if the shadow just sits there, quiet, why does it wreck your Tuesday afternoon? Because unrecognized shadow doesn't stay inside. It gets thrown outward. Jung called this projection. The normal individual sees his shadow in his neighbor, Jung wrote. That coworker whose arrogance makes your skin crawl, ask yourself what they actually have that you've decided you're not allowed to have. Say it's confidence. Somewhere along the way, you learned that taking up space was arrogant, or risky, or unsafe, so you buried it. Now someone else walks around freely doing the exact thing you outlawed in yourself. Your nervous system doesn't read that as neutral. It reads it as a threat. The projection carries your own secret fear onto them, Jung said, which makes them look more dangerous than they actually are. And it's not just your mood that pays for this. Jung was specific about the relational cost too. The love you could have for that person, he wrote, suffers most of all from the lack of understanding that projection creates. You can't actually know someone you're using as a screen. So the coworker isn't really the problem. Your unlived confidence is. And once you can see that, the anger loses most of its grip. And it isn't only the traits you secretly admire. It's the ones you've decided are shameful too. Neediness, jealousy, wanting to be taken care of. That wave of contempt you feel for someone who seems needy? Often, that's a suppressed need in you, one you decided a long time ago made you weak or too much. This is the part Jung wanted people to sit with. Having this capacity doesn't make you a bad person. Pretending you don't have it does the actual damage. Believing yourself harmless, he wrote, because you only count what your conscious mind knows of itself, adds stupidity to whatever damage you were already capable of. Denial isn't innocence, it's just denial. Here's where it gets genuinely strange. Eckhart Tolle never mentions Jung's shadow, but he describes the exact same thing and calls it the pain body. Tolle's claim: any pain you don't fully feel in the moment doesn't vanish. It leaves a residue. Any negative emotion that isn't fully faced, Tolle writes, leaves behind a remnant of pain. Over a lifetime, those remnants join together. He calls it an energy field that lives in the cells of your body. For some people, it's active up to 100% of the time. And here's the line that should sound familiar. The pain body's reaction to a present event is always, quote, clearly out of proportion to the apparent cause. You look at the present, Tolle says, through the eyes of the emotional past within you. That oversized reaction? That's the past, borrowing your eyes. There's a mechanical detail here worth knowing. Normally, a thought creates an emotion. Tolle says the pain body flips that. The emotion comes first, and it hijacks your thinking to justify itself. That's why in the moment, the angry story in your head feels completely rational. It isn't. It's the pain body, narrating. And Tolle makes one more claim that explains so much relationship conflict. The pain body actively wants drama, because negative emotion is the only fuel it can use. It'll even provoke people close to you, push their buttons, so it can feed on the fight that follows. Ever start an argument and only realize afterward that some part of you wanted it? That's this. Or think about a meeting where a coworker takes credit for your idea, and instead of a calm, direct word afterward, you go cold and silent for the rest of the week. That disproportion is the tell. The meeting lasted 10 minutes. The silence lasted 5 days. Whatever got triggered in you is doing more work than the actual event ever could. Michael Singer, author of The Untethered Soul, has his own word for it too: samskaras. Stored, unfinished emotional patterns from your past. A present event digs through everything you've stored, he writes, and when it hits one of these blockages, it colors your entire experience of today. Singer describes the pull itself in almost physical terms. He says a triggered samskara acts like a magnet. It tries to drag your awareness inside it, so you lose the ability to tell the difference between yourself and the reaction. Letting go, he writes, means falling behind the energy instead of going into it. 4 authors, 4 vocabularies, 1 mechanism: old pain, stored, waiting for a present-day trigger to set it off. Now add Brené Brown. Her research is on shame. The felt experience of believing a part of you makes you unworthy of love. We put on armor, she writes. We use our thoughts and behaviors as weapons, and we learn how to make ourselves disappear. One of the most common shields Brown found is perfectionism. Not the healthy kind of striving. A 20-ton shield. Perfectionism, she writes, is the belief that if we do things perfectly, we can avoid the pain of blame and judgment altogether. It's armor, dressed up as a virtue. Picture someone who never asks for help at work, who insists on redoing everything themselves. Everyone calls them a perfectionist. Brown would ask what that armor is protecting. Underneath, usually, is shame. The fear that if anyone saw the unfinished, imperfect version of them, they wouldn't be enough. But shame needs secrecy to survive. Speak it out loud, Brown says, and it begins to wither. She distills the whole antidote into 3 lines. I am enough. I've had enough. And showing up, taking the risk, letting myself be seen, is enough. So here's the trap. You can't out-suppress the shadow, and you can't out-blame it either. Jung actually warned that suppression makes it worse. An animal, he wrote, is never so wild and dangerous as when it's wounded. Push the shadow down hard enough, and it doesn't leave. It festers. It leaks out sideways instead. In sarcasm, in passive aggression, in the exact overreaction we started this video with. Suppression doesn't remove the charge. It just hides where it's coming from. So, Jung's answer isn't heroic self-control. It's the opposite of repression. If the shadow contains valuable, vital forces, he wrote, they ought to be assimilated into actual experience, not repressed. Assimilated, not exiled, not indulged. Brought inside and put to use. He even called it a kind of sacrifice, just aimed the opposite way from what you'd expect. It can require a sacrifice just as heroic as conquering a passion, he wrote, but in the opposite sense. The sacrifice isn't restraint. It's giving up the comfortable story that you're only the good half. So if hiding it fails, and blaming someone else fails, what's actually left? This is where all four authors land in the exact same place. Michael Singer calls it the witness. And it starts with a single question. Ask the moment you feel triggered. Not, what should I do about this? Instead, what part of me is being disturbed by this? The very fact that you can see the disturbance, Singer writes, means that you are not it. That single sentence is the whole practice. Notice what that does. It doesn't ask you to fight the feeling, or fix the person who triggered it. It just asks you to stay conscious enough to see it happening. That's it. That's the entire shift. So here's the practice. In 4 steps. 1. Notice when a reaction is too big for the moment. That's your signal. 2. Ask Singer's question. What part of me is being disturbed by this? Not what's wrong with them, what's alive in me. 3. Witness it. Feel it in your body without turning it into a story, and without acting on it. And 4. Name it. Even just to yourself. Brown's research says, the moment you speak it, it starts to lose its grip. One more thing Singer insists on. Don't wait for a crisis to try this. You won't be able to do it under real pressure if you've never practiced on anything small. Someone takes your parking spot. A friend doesn't text back. Use those little moments to practice stepping into the witness seat, so it's already familiar when something real is on the line. Let's walk it through with something real. Say your partner forgets something small, and you snap, way harder than the moment deserves. Here's what it actually feels like in your body, in the second before you speak. Chest tight, jaw clenched, voice already sharpening. That's the pain body waking up, not you deciding to be upset. Old pattern. You either swallow it and resent them for the rest of the night, or you unload on them and it becomes a fight about nothing. New pattern. You catch the size of the reaction. Ask what part of you feels unimportant right now, and just sit with that feeling for 30 seconds before you say a word. And if you can, name it out loud to your partner. Even just, this is bigger than the plates. I think I'm feeling unimportant right now. Watch how fast the fight deflates. Do that enough times, and you stop losing the same argument every single month. Not because you got better at winning it, because you stopped needing to. It changes how you see yourself, too. Instead of thinking, I'm someone who overreacts, you start thinking, I'm someone who's learning what I've been carrying. That's a completely different relationship with your own mind. Let's be honest about what this practice does and doesn't do. It won't make the coworker less arrogant. It won't make your partner remember things better. What it fixes is the gap between the trigger and your response. That gap is where your whole life actually happens. And Jung was careful here too. This isn't about becoming enlightened or above it all. It's the opposite. Only if I remain an ordinary human being, conscious of my own incompleteness, he wrote, can I stay open to what my unconscious actually has to show me. Staying humble is what keeps the door open. Jung had a word for where this leads. Individuation. The lifelong process of the conscious and unconscious learning to live at peace with each other. And he was clear, it isn't a straight line to a finish. He called it a circumambulation of the self, a circling, not a checklist. Man becomes whole, integrated, calm, fertile, and happy, he wrote, when the conscious and unconscious learn to complement each other. Notice what that isn't. It isn't perfection, it's honesty. An integrated person hasn't gotten rid of their capacity for anger, or jealousy, or fear. They've just stopped being surprised by it, and stopped needing someone else to carry the blame for it. It's ultimately the self that regulates your relationships, Jung wrote, as long as you deal with your projections inside yourself instead of outside. That's the whole video in one sentence. He must know relentlessly, Jung wrote, how much good he can do, and what he's capable of, and stop pretending one of those is real and the other isn't. Your shadow was never the enemy. It was the part of you standing guard over everything you decided, a long time ago, that you weren't allowed to be. Go open the door. Whatever's standing there has been waiting for you, not against you. And remember what Jung said at the very start. That thing has more power than almost anything else in you. It's just been waiting to be pointed in a direction you'd actually choose. So here's my question for you. What's one reaction in your life that's always felt bigger than it should? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. You don't need the full answer right now. You just need the question. That's how this whole practice starts. One honest question at a time. And if you want to go deeper on how old pain runs the present moment, watch our video on Tolle's pain body next. It picks up exactly where this one leaves off. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you'd like us to cover next. And check out our website, thedeepsynthesis.com, where we go deeper on every topic, plus a free convergence map waiting for you.